Thank you for standing by, and welcome to the Platinum Series Overview and General Operations webcast. During today's webcast, attendees will be in listen-only mode. There will be a Q&A session at the end of today's call. If you have a question during the presentation, you may submit it online by entering it into the QA panel. If you're in full screen view, click the question icon located in the floating toolbar at the lower side of your screen. Simply type a question into the dialog box and click the Send button. If you're in the split screen mode, the Q&A panel is already open and is located on the lower right side of your screen. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded. If you are experiencing technical issues, please contact WebEx Technical Support. Our speaker today is John Kadike, Central Zone Technical Manager. John, please go ahead.
Hi, welcome to our webcast today. My name's John. Today we're going to be covering the basic operation, use and care of the Platinum Series brewers. This one we have here is an ICB Twin, the Thermal Fresh version. We also have a soft heat version of this as well. Functionality is basically the same. The containers, the server containers are a little bit different. We'll cover how to take it apart and clean that. Basic operation of this thing. First, we're going to be covering just how to brew with it, the cleaning of the spray head and the spray head area, cleaning of the servers themselves, and then we'll get a little bit into the programming, but not too deep, just enough to show you what kind of options you have in the programming. If you have any questions about the use of this or programming, or if there's something you want to get into or change, feel free to call our technical services department. Their phone number is 1-800-286-6345, and we'll try to put that number up on the screen for you. Write that number down. That is 7 days a week, evenings available also, so anytime you have a question about the machine, call us up and we can help you out. We can walk you through all of this stuff. So brewing is basically just as straightforward as most of the brewers that you're used to brewing. You have a funnel here, and you put the paper filter in here, and then the coffee. This funnel is what we call a smart funnel. It's got a little computer chip here, an RFID chip here, so that the machine knows when the basket's in place. For safety, we have a funnel lock that's going to come down when you start to brew and keep this in place so you don't pull this out. If you use this in conjunction with a grinder, when you grind coffee into the funnel, that information is programmed onto the chip, and the machine will recognize when you put it in here what kind of coffee it is and what batch size to use. This one here, we've just got we have Ethiopian and Costa Rican, and small and large, 2 batch sizes. We could certainly put 3 in there, but you just basically choose your size that you want to brew. Oh, small, and then press brew, and then it's going to count down. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I don't know if you heard that pin pop down to lock that funnel in place. That's that safety measure. As with all the coffee brewers, we have a little bit of cleaning and maintenance to do. The most important cleaning to keep your brew levels where they should be and keep everything accurate is to clean the spray head, and to clean also the fitting that's behind the spray head where this screws on to. So we have a cleaning tool here. This cleaning tool product number is 38227.0000. These come with each machine that we ship out. It's in the literature, but if you want to purchase some more of those, that's the product number you'd order. We'll try to put that up on the screen too if we can. The cleaning tool has two parts. One is the pointed side and one is the flat side. The pointed side is really designed for metal spray heads. You don't really want to use that on this plastic spray head because you'll gouge out the holes and make them too big. But use the flat side up into the brewer where the spray head screws onto, and just put that in there and give it a few twists and pull it out, and that's all there is to it. The spray head itself, you can kind of look and see if it's clean, if it has any flakes of scale in there, take the gasket off the perimeter, and then it just comes apart. You can wash it out in the sink, and then just put it back together. It's got a couple of tabs that sort of lock into place, and the gasket just stretches right back around the perimeter. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. And then put this back on the machine. Be careful not to cross thread this when you're threading it back on there. The threads are plastic on the spray head, and then the fitting that it's screwing onto is metal. So if you cross thread that, you end up ruining that spray head for future use. So that's about all there is to that. There is a calibration you can do in the machine. If you want to go through a calibration, you'll need a measuring pitcher. Feel free to just call us up and we can walk you through that. It's a 1-minute test just to give you an idea that the machine is brewing the proper amounts. The server, the thermal server, has a bail handle, and you have to flip the handle over to the other side to get this to release. Otherwise, it locks it in place for safety. This just comes off. You can rinse this tube out down through the center, and then run some water in here with some sanitizer. Get a bottle brush in there and scrub it if you need to. Don't submerge these in water. They're not designed to be submerged in water. The faucet top just unscrews. In here you have a seat cup. This just pulls loose from the plunger, just like that. You can kind of clean that one and pop that back into place. And then just screw it back on the top. Before I put that back on there though, I want to show you the sight tube right here. The sight tube, slide up, pull this out, and it comes out just that easy. And you can rinse this out. You can run a small brush through there and clean that out, any coffee residue. To replace it, just fits in there with pressure, and this slides down to keep it intact. And we can just screw the faucet back on. It's a good idea to clean these every day. Any kind of coffee residue that you leave in these things, in the faucets especially, sort of gets a bitter taste, and you wouldn't think that a little bit of a coffee stain would affect the flavor of the coffee, but it really does. And when you do such a good job at brewing the right amount of coffee the right way with the right recipe, and then you don't want to do anything on the other side after it's finished to ruin the flavor of it. Along those same lines, also try to store your paper filters in the bag that they come in the plastic bag. Keep that bag closed. Any exposure to the air will soak in moisture and odors and things into the paper itself. And as you're brewing the coffee, those transfer into the coffee. We're going to show you programming just a little bit. There's our Bunn logo right here in the top center. If you push that and hold it, that's your recipe selection. If I hold it for a couple seconds, it should get into, I didn't do it right. Hold it for a couple seconds. Of course, when I'm trying to demonstrate this, it doesn't work. There we go. You got to touch it just right. In here we have event log, care and cleaning, statistics, and advanced. So we won't get into the advanced menu. This has to do with programming and testing and calibrations and things like that. If we just touch on the care and cleaning, we can touch on daily. It'll show you what to do every day. If you go back, weekly, it shows you what to do weekly cleaning. Shoot. Okay. I'm going to start that over and you can edit that out, right?
Yep.
Okay. In the programming we have event log, statistics, care and cleaning and advanced. The advanced menu we're not going to get into too far, but that's got to do with program settings and calibrations and testing of components and things like that. If we get into care and cleaning here, it says daily, weekly, dispenser, and clean screen. The daily cleaning, we just push that. It shows you what to do every day. We go back to the weekly. It shows you what to do every week. And if you go back, press the dispenser, it shows you how to take the lid off, faucet and sight tube that we just went through, and then the server itself. So all of this is available to you right in the menu, picture prompted. If we go to statistics, this is how many brew cycles the machine's been through. It just sort of keeps track. And the event log. The event log keeps track of errors and things like that. So if you do have some trouble with the brewer, a technician can come in and see what the history, what's been happening with the machine. And that's all the farther you're really going to need to get into the programming. So this is pretty straightforward. The Platinum Series is very easy to program. There's a USB slot on the side here. So when it comes to changing recipes, or rolling out new equipment, or adding recipes, it's very easy to do just by a USB on the side here. So if you have any questions, type them off to the side there, and then we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. Thanks for joining us, and we're going to open it up now to no questions so far?
Can you go through the advanced menus?
Go through the advanced menu. Okay, is this camera picking this up really well or not? Let me see. Okay, oh, there we go. Nice. So to get into the programming, we're just going to hold the button logo there at the top. You go into advanced. It's going to give you an option to put a password in there. If you go in the programming and enter a password, then you'll have to put the password in here. If you don't know it, or you forgot, or somebody else put it in, you can use our password 6601 and then hit enter. If there's no password in the settings, then you can just skip this screen and just hit enter. It'll go in there. So in here we have recipes, machine settings, service, import, export, and calibrations. So recipes is just setting up the recipes. Just like any other equipment, we can touch in that if you want to. If you want to get into that recipe or that menu, then put a question up there in the question box. I want to show you import export though real quick, because this is really simple to use a USB on the side here, and if you're importing or exporting, it's just that simple right there. Import, export, and that's it. So machine settings, that's like temperature and power settings, brew settings, regional settings like clock and all that kind of thing. Calibrations, that's where you calibrate your spray head or the bypass, so it's sort of simplified real quick. And then, you know, the recipes. These are the recipes in there, so just touch on decaf, small, large. You just hit the button and you can change bypass, drip time, pre-infusion volume. So everything's sort of laid out with pictures. So it's a little bit easier, I think, than going through the menu step by step. Did that answer, see what you need to see there, or do you want me to get into one of the different settings, or is that okay?
Since this uses SmartWave technologies, can you use delining spring or only a delining key?
only a deliming key. There is no tube that goes up into the tank. There's a valve that sits right over the spray head that opens and closes, so a spring wouldn't get up there. Also, if you push something up there too far, you'll end up pushing on the plunger, and it'll get hot water pouring out all over the place. That Smart Wave feature is really kind of a neat feature. It's basically just an air pump, been of course controlled by the programming, where it blows air into the spray head area, and that forces water to come out at a higher rate. So it kind of squirts it out rather than just letting it fall out, and that helps to churn up the coffee grounds in there so it extracts evenly. Also, at the end of the cycle, it blows a little bit of air to dry out the spray head, so scale doesn't build up in that area too.
They said, could you go a little deeper in the advanced menus?
Okay, and I apologize. I keep forgetting that I have to repeat the the question. So I'm being asked to go deeper into which settings?
The
Advanced settings. Well, this is the advanced menu. Okay, so let's go into the machine settings here. Regional settings. That is language, time and date. Units, so units is metric or English. And then here's your password. This is where you would enter the password. The units, if somebody gets in here and accidentally changes this, the machine will show ready to brew 90 degrees because it'll be Celsius. That kind of throws people off sometimes. Where was I at here? Brewer settings, energy saver, screen saver, and funnel detect. So if you were not using a smart funnel, then you could turn that off and it would go ahead and brew. But right now with that check like this, the machine won't brew unless that funnel's in place. Brew settings. So here's your tank temperature set is 200 degrees on this one. Ready temperature is at 195. So if we have brew lockout set, which it is, it's checked right here. So the machine won't brew until it's up to 195 degrees. Both of those are of course adjustable. Just touch the button and put in here 190 and hit enter. So now that's 190. It's a lot easier. It's sort of a lot more intuitive than going through our other menus line by line because of the touch screen ability and the size of the screen. If we get into service, this is where we can, for example, test outputs. I can turn on and off all these valves, right funnel lock to test, left funnel lock. So this is really nice for technicians to, when they narrow down a problem and sort of diagnose what's going on, they can test this before they have to tear into a machine and use voltmeters and all that kind of thing. Air pump, tank heater, left air pump. So that's in the, let's go back into the service here. That's test outputs. Restore defaults, of course, puts everything back to factory settings. History, event history, this is a good one too, because this shows errors that have happened on the machine. It's not showing up on your screen too well, but this says tank fill time too long. One time it happened. So maybe somebody had the water turned off to this machine, or maybe right when they connected it, they didn't have the water connected before it's plugged into electricity. Anyway, this lists down any kind of fault. So this, if a lot of times a technician will show up to a machine and somebody will report that there was a problem, but by the time the technician shows up, the problem's gone. So this is a nice way to get into the history and see what's been happening. Service phone numbers, diagnostics, test outputs, restore defaults. Diagnostics is it has to do with the communications to the board, to the display. We saw input, import, export, calibration. Well, that's about it in programming. This is really kind of intuitive. It's of course it's in the manual, but if you want to do something in programming, you can kind of, if you're familiar with how these machines work and what they can and can't do, it's pretty intuitive to kind of walk up and figure it out just by poking around a little bit.
Are the factory settings for small, medium, and large brew volumes 64, 128, and 128, not 1.5 gallon for large?
Okay, the question is the factory settings. Let's just go to regular, small, volume, 64 ounces. No, medium isn't, okay, I got to turn it on. Volume, medium is 128, and large is going to be probably 192. Oh, that's 129 it says. That's odd. I don't know if that's factory settings or if somebody put that in there. Let me go to another recipe. It says 128 for for large. Okay, so somebody's got this set to brew a half a gallon and 1 gallon. So factory settings. Well, this is going to be, yeah, because these are the 1 gallon servers. Okay, so that makes sense. So on this version machine, on the low profile machine, it's going to be set for just 1 gallon for the large. But the soft heat brewers that use the 1.5 gallon containers will be set 64, 128, and 192. So half gallon, gallon, and gallon and a half. This brewer here's got the 1 gallon servers on it, so it's the largest set for 1 gallon.
Can you demo loading images on a machine when idle?
If I had images, I could demo it. Oh, sorry. Repeat the question. The question was, can I demo loading images onto the machine? This machine, I'm not sure that we can do images on this one. It's just settings and recipes. So these images, I could be wrong, but I don't think we can change these images here. That's more for the Sure Immersions and the Fast Cup machine have that capability. But let's go back into the import-export real quick. Okay. Import-export screen. It just says import or export an update. So update would be if we had new software, we could plug into the side here with a USB. So if I have recipes on a USB drive, the machine needs to know if I want to take those recipes and put it onto the machine, or if I want to take the machine recipe and add it to the thumb drive. So that's why import-export is your choice. If we just put export, insert USB stick, it's not going to let me do anything because I don't have anything plugged in. But I don't believe we can do images on this one. It's only the settings. And when you do transfer settings, it's all the settings like temperature, delay times on all the recipes, all the recipes that you use, so everything else. So once you get one machine programmed the way you want it, put in a USB stick, hit export, and then that's a copy you can just plug into any other machine. One important note is right now, we're working on this, that's going to change in the future, but right now, if you have this machine and make a thumb drive for it, you can only use that thumb drive on this model machine. You can't put it on a soft heat machine, for example. And vice versa. If you have a soft heat machine and download export the settings from that, you can't plug it into this one here and have it work. I've been told that that's on the list. It's going to be upgraded in the future, but for right now, you have to have one thumb drive for each model machine.
You can load an image or logo on the screensaver.
Let's take a look here. That's a good question. The question is, can we load an image on the screensaver? Let me see, advanced. That was on machine settings. Nope, I forgot where that was. Regional settings, okay. Screensaver. Screensaver, custom enabled. I'm going to turn the time all the way down here. This is the time to set. Okay, it's going to be 5 minutes. It says custom enabled. So bun enabled and custom enabled. So apparently you can. That's news to me, but visually intuitive program. Well, if we sit here for 5 minutes, we might see what comes up here. Well, that's new to me, so sorry about that. I didn't know that feature existed. They're coming out with new stuff all the time. So, no more questions? Okay. We're going to give it just a minute in case somebody's typing a question. We'll give them a minute to get it in. But now I have some homework to do. I need to look at that feature and see how that's done. So next time I get that question. We will be doing a presentation like this on the programming for this machine coming up. So I'll include that in that session. So be watching for that, and we'll go through it more in depth, and I'll have a nice picture ready for you. No other questions? All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for joining us. Look at the schedule for the other ones and go through on the list and look. You can look at all the other previous recordings of the webcasts that we've done in the past. It answers a lot of questions. Hopefully anyway. Visualization helps a lot. So that's all for today. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks for joining us.